Hello viewers, this is Say-La-Vee, and today we are going to be doing another build here on the channel, and that is going to be build number 3, the Cross Healer. The general goal behind this build is to step away from the past two, which have been martial frontline fighters, and instead have a rear line fighter that is 1, capable of high damage output attacks, and 2, healing the allies on the field. While yes, we have the combat tower medic, we do not have someone dedicated to the healing role, and that's where the Cross Healer is going to step in. So without further ado, let's get into our level 1 things, which would be the ABCs, starting with Ancestry. We are going to be taking Ancient Elf here. We gain these boring things in those boxes right there, but specifically we are here because of a fun little feat that we are going to get that will help boost us later down the line. But let's cover some basics. Ancient Elves give us a bonus to our Dexterity and Intelligence, 1 free bonus, which is going in Strength, and then a flaw to Constitution. For languages, we are going to take some things that will help us communicate with our party members we have already made, so we are going to take Common, Elven, Jotun, and Dwarven. We will end up with an intelligence that allows us to take some extra languages, so I'm just going to include them now. Our traits, if those ever come into mind, are going to be Elf and Humanoid, and our archetype feat that comes from Ancient Elf is going to be the Fighter Dedication, netting us training in martial weapons, which we will place in the class section, and training in athletics or acrobatics. We are going to take acrobatics. But background, we're a hunter. I like to think that this character is someone who would go from civilization to civilization, sharing their knowledge and aiding in the field wherever they could. And on the way there, they need to be able to fend for themselves. So Hunter is going to give us a bonus to whatever we want, which will be Strength, and then 1 between Dexterity and Wisdom. We are choosing Wisdom here. Our skill feat that we are going to get from our background is Survey Wildlife, which means that we can spend 10 minutes to assess the wildlife in the area, or rather the lack thereof, by looking at footprints or scat or whatever it may be. And then after that 10 minutes, we can perform a Recall Knowledge with a -2 circumstance penalty to see if we learn anything about them. But this just means that we have food easily. And for skills, we get Survival and Tanning Lore. Moving on to C or class, we are going to be taking, as the table suggests, Cleric. Cleric is going to give us a key attribute of Wisdom, bringing that up to a +2, and then of course we are going to get some fun initial proficiencies listed here. The martial weapons is highlighted because of that fighter archetype feat. Clerics do not normally start with martial weapons. We are going to get an ancestry feat here, Otherworldly Magic. This is going to give us a cantrip that I believe is from the Arcane spell list, but either way I would take something like Light or Detect Magic for another slot that we can place our Cleric cantrips in, and the Detect Magic option helps us with some exploration activities, while Light provides the bonus for our friends that do not have dark vision, including ourselves. We get a Cleric deity choice here, and we are going to be taking Abadar, and not sanctioning Holy or Unholy. Abadar is the god of cities, laws, merchants, and wealth, and his divine font is Healing or Harming, and we will take Healing for now. The Cleric doctrine we are going to be choosing is War Priest, granting us some further proficiencies in Trained with Light and Medium Armor, an Expert Fortitude saving throw, and the Deadly Simplicity feat. This feat is going to increase our favored weapon by the god, which Abadar is the crossbow. Half of the reason why this character is named the Cross Healer. This means that our crossbow as a simple weapon is going to go from 1d8 damage to 1d10 damage, theoretically being a heavy crossbow. We of course always get, as a War Priest as well, the Shield Block feat. For skills, we get 2 plus our intelligence, so going down the list we get Religion from being a Cleric, Society from choosing Abadar, and then we finally get Nature, Athletics, Diplomacy, and Medicine from our boosts, bringing our intelligence to 2, so we get 4 extra here. Finally, we are done with level 1. Let's move to level 2. At level 2, we are going to cover some variant rules. Like always, we are going to be using the gradual attribute boosts, boosting our wisdom here finally up to 4, and the automatic bonus progression, bringing a +1 potency to all of our strikes. For our cleric feat, we are going to be taking versatile font, meaning that as an avatar follower, we have harming and healing now, so we could prepare 2 and 2 if we really wanted to. And if we did not take elf, and we didn't get that extra dedication feat here, we would be taking the fighter dedication here, or completely disregarding that, I would take the reach spell at level 2, or the reach feat, sorry, and then the versatile font at level 4, but we'll cover what we take at level 4 when we get there. Our skill feat here at level 2, I would take quick jump just for some extra mobility options that we can reach our allies with. So if they're on the other side of some difficult terrain, we could one action leap over there with our higher movement as an elf. Moving to level 3, we are going to get a bonus to our dexterity and a +1 skill potency, which we are placing in medicine. And then we are going to get a cleric feature, which is useless to us because of our fighter archetype, training in martial weapons. The general feat we are going to take is Incredible Initiative. The reason why we want Incredible Initiative is because as the healer of the party, if you go first, you know when to delay till if you need to heal an ally on a further round of combat. So we could start the combat, lay out a bless or a protection or something like that to help boost our allies, and then on that second round, when they're in the fight getting hurt, we know when to delay till so we can stop them from dying. We of course here also get a skill increase. We are going to bring expert medicine rank, and that is going to give us at level 3 a +12. So by the end of the build, we'll have a +14 instead. Moving to level 4 here, we are going to boost our constitution, finally getting a positive out of that, increasing our hit points across all of the levels. And we also gain +1 devastating strikes, meaning that all of our attacks are doing 2 dice of damage. Our cleric feat that we are taking here is a dedication feat of point blank stance, meaning that we get a +2 circumstance bonus to all of our damage rolls with ranged weapons within our first range increment. This requires that we are holding a ranged weapon to enter the stance. If we stop holding our bow, or crossbow in this case, we exit the stance. Our skill feat that we are taking here is Recognize Spell. There wasn't really one that jumped out to me necessarily, so I think as a support option, Recognize Spell is a decent option as a dedicated spellcaster, and the first spellcaster that we've built so far. So picking up this means that we can spot and recall what spell it is as a reaction. And our final level of level 5, we are going to get a bonus to our intelligence, and of course that +1 armor class potency. We get a ancestry feat, which we will be taking Nimble Elf, bringing our movement speed up by 5 to a total of 35, which is going to help both getting around the battlefield as a ranged combatant, and also our quick jump feat, because we can jump a lot further. Our cleric feature is Expert in Perception. Our skill increase is going to go into athletics, bringing in that 2+11 finally, helping again with the quick jump. And because we boosted our intelligence at this level, we are going to get the goblin language and the stealth skill. Obviously, you guys can throw whatever you want in these slots. I'm just filling things out so you know. So let's clear everything up. Let's cover some basics, and let's cover the end of this build. So for gear and a regular turn, I would follow what I'm about to say, but at the same time, obviously do whatever you want. When it comes down to it, a level 5 character starting off fresh gets 280 gold worth of equipment. We are going to purchase studded leather armor for a good light armor option, a short sword for a good melee combat option because our dexterity isn't great, but obviously, we are going to be purchasing a crossbow here because that is the whole point of the build, or well, one of the points of the build. The Ghost Touch rune is going to get applied to that crossbow because shooting a ghost sounds fun, so why not? We're going to pick up 2 sets of bolts here, a healer's toolkit, an adventurer's pack, a staff of healing for an extra heal spell, and the stabilize cantrip. 3 scrolls of healing, and then I'd also just grab 3 spell strike ammunition. and we will cover why right now on our standard turns. Of course, we have the basic stride up to an enemy or stride away from an enemy, and then strike with our crossbow, and then we can one action heal our ally if they're down on the ground. Now this would be a conversation with your GM, but swapping an item, like a sword for another sword off your hip, is one action. I would say that as a GM myself, you could use an action to interact and swap from one bolt to another bolt. I would put in here a spell strike ammunition, and then two action strike with a harm spell. This is going to give us a damage of 2d10 piercing, plus 2 from our stance if you're in it, plus 1d8 void damage from the spell, and then plus 8 void damage from the spell, because of course we're activating the ranged version. This is going to increase the range of our spell from 30 feet to 120 or 100, whatever the crossbow is, which is a lot further, and is also going to give us a lot higher of an average damage number there. And the two numbers that I have, 25.5 and 51, assume that the enemy fails on the saving throw for the first regular hit, and then on the critical hit damage of 51, we're assuming that they critically get hit and critically fail their saving throw. And then of course the quick jump action is typically 2 actions. Because of our feet, we can do it as 1. We could jump over some difficult terrain, or jump across a bridge, or jump down over an enemy. I always think is really funny, but then heal at range if we need to, getting that bonus to the healing. And then of course the final one, if we weren't already in stance but had a spell strike ammo loaded, you could enter that point blank stance and then hit the 2 action harm. So I think that this build would definitely be very fun to play, and we will see at episode 5 how it actually plays. But that is the end of the build. So if you guys liked it, leave a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. If you have anything that you would like to say to me or other people on YouTube, you can say that down in the comment section below. But this has been Say-La-Vee, and I would like to say good night, or good morning, or good evening, or afternoon, whatever it is for you. Just have a good day. Again, this has been Say-La-Vee, and bye-bye.